Don't fall before you are pushed, meaning don't give up in the face of adversity. John Mason.
I'm Julie.
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Stephanie, and this is Blind JEMS.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Today we have the pleasure of having Christy with us. Christy's all about education, family. She's a wife, a mother, and as she puts it, a counselor to many. And that part kind of intrigues me. Christy, would you like to introduce yourself and we'll go from
Elizabeth.
there?
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for having me here today. I am from Massachusetts, so sometimes I lose an R or two or all of them. I am from a very large blended family, a very loving family. I am the only one that went blind. I lost my eyesight. I started losing my eyesight when I was 9 years old, and I lost the majority of it when I was 11 to what some doctors call is juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and other doctors call it juvenile idiopathic arthritis with bilateral uveitis. I have other disabilities and diagnoses on top of that. I lost my right eye at the age of 11, and I was homeschooled that whole sixth grade to try to learn transitions and, get to know how to do mobility again, and also learn how to read and write using a typewriter and a CCTV and start to learn Braille. I was determined to go back to school. My mom and my siblings treated me exactly how they always wanted to, how they always treated me, because I told them, do not treat me any different. My Braille teacher, when I was 12 years old, told me that the best way to get somewhere in life is to get an education. Like I said, I was from a very large family, and I was the first one to graduate high school. I did it with a lot of help, but I worked really hard at it. During high school, I wanted to test myself and push my memory. So I wanted to join the band and learn music, because I know that's how you practice. And then, at home, I lived basically a normal life with my family, had to make some adjustments, but, and then I turned out to be the first one to go to college and the first one to get her master's degree. And, I learned a lot about being independent, did a lot of traveling. And I also learned how to become a mom and a wife with a disability. I also am a mom of a daughter who has disabilities, but they're different from mine. So that's a whole new adventure. And I, became a licensed mental health counselor for children and wanted to make sure that they were getting the accommodations, and had a counselor for them and an advocate for them as well. I can go on, but I wanted to see if you guys had any questions yet.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that you were a counselor, or I believe you are retired now, but you were a counselor for children just because, as I think I've mentioned this, I'm autistic, so I had a hard time, especially in elementary school. I would spend recess in this little red tube that was meant for you to like crawl through, but I would sit in there huddled up because it was a confined space. It blocked out most of the noise, and I could just sit in there and, not be overwhelmed by all the noise and the screaming and the kids and the social requirements. And I didn't have a counselor at my school because I live in a small place that could help me. So I just think it's amazing that you help children like me when I was a kid who definitely needed support.
Yeah. So when I got my master's degree, part of my master's degree was to do an internship. And I did it for a local agency. And they have a program that is called school-based counseling. So I didn't work for the school. I worked for the agency, and we rented a room at the school. We borrowed a room from the school, and we did our counseling there inside the school because we were able to get the kids, and it was easier for the parents. They didn't have to, bring their kids out of school to bring them to an appointment. They didn't have to worry about transportation. And then, we had follow-up appointments with the parents, maybe after school or at the office on the days that I was in the office and the kids were still in school. So it was a good setup for most of the kids that needed that counseling in school. A lot of kids had trouble that I saw in school, dealing with education, dealing with their academic needs and their social needs in school. So we could work on it right there in the classroom as well.
That's amazing. I think, like you said, too, education is so important. And you're just amazing to have done all that with vision impairment as well.
And
Did you teach, Christy, you teach like a certain age group? Sorry, like a certain age group that you did?
So So one thing that we find out when you're doing counseling, when you're getting your bachelor's degree and you're getting your master's degree, you do these practicums and internships, and you have to go into these different fields to figure out who am I going to work with best, who am I going to be better suited with. And so like I found that I work best with children ages 5 to about 12.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I
then
taught preschool. So yeah, I like the little ones. Yeah.
And then I work best with teenagers, 14 to like 20. So the junior high kids scare me. The middle school age, they're sometimes the 11 to 14-year-olds, they're a little, we don't click all that good. There's so much hormones.
Yeah.
One second. Oh, it's one story after another. There's drama. When you're working with the littles, you're like, okay, let's play. Let's make you feel like you have agency and choice, and let's make you feel like you have some comfort and that you feel secure, and that what you do in my room is between me and you, and that you can open up and you can learn about why people lie and why people make wrong choices. And then when you get to the 14 to 20-year-olds, you're like, they're starting to think like, all right, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And they get stuck in these patterns that their family has been stuck in, and they have intergenerational trauma that they're stuck in. And they're trying to make decisions at that age of like, how do I get out of this? How do I make a different choice? And so they're that age group with me. I'm like, okay, let's make this plan. Let's take a step out. So, and I found something out because when I was told by my Braille teacher that education is the way out, I thought she meant academics. I put all my effort into academics. And then when I started to really work as a counselor with these kids, and I'm like, education doesn't mean academics.
No.
Education means skill, talent, hands-on. They could be educated in so many ways. It's not always book academic education.
No. It's great to be book smart, but you definitely need all the other attributes to go along with that. Do you know what I really like about the program that you were a huge part of, Christy, is that it was a team effort, like you were in the school, like you said, so the teachers were involved and the parents are the ones that are directing their children to it. So the parents are involved. I don't think it can be done by just one unit there. Like it does take a village, doesn't it? And I love that about you. And I noticed that even in the cafe, you're very you bring the community. Like when you're in a room, you bring other people into the conversation that you create in this feeling of ease and comfort that people can feel relaxed and able to open up. So that's great. I'm just wondering though, when it comes to Elizabeth mentioned that you're like to play games. Are we talking like games with the kids, or are we talking online games? What are we?
Every game. So I'm medically retired now because of a couple of my disabilities are in a flare up, and I'm hoping that if I can get better, I can go back to work. I'm only in my late 40s, so I still have time on this earth to make a difference and keep making an impact. So I'm hoping I can go back and get re-licensed because my license ran out since I've been retired. But I play lots of games with everybody. Playing games is very important. It's a skill to increase memory, increase social interaction. It's to manage and moderate your emotional control. Does a kid get angry if they lose a turn? Does a kid, this is any age. Like my, I have a sister that's in her early 40s and she still gets angry at Monopoly.
But I couldn't agree more.
Do you have a favorite game, Christy?
So it's hard to say. Oh my gosh. So I love playing games with different types of people. With my family, I love Dungeons and Dragons. I play I play with my husband I've played now for 28 years, and it's a tabletop dice rolling game. It has evolved over the years for me because I used to let him mark up my sheet. They have different types of dice, like a 20-sided, 10-sided, and I would roll the dice and let my husband tell me what I rolled, and then I would make choices of what I'm going to do and verbalize to the team. Now I have my cell phone. It has a thing called Dice Tray, an app called Dice Tray, so I can roll my own dice, and it does it on my phone. I have an Excel spreadsheet that has all my characters on it, so I know all the numbers, and I can mark it on my iPad myself. I can also, my husband loves to buy me different types of dice. So I have these huge dice that are like the size of croquet balls or bocce balls. And they're wicked loud and heavy when you roll them on the table. But he just ordered me some from Etsy. That it's a 3D print, a guy that does 3D printing. And they're really light, and they have Braille all over them.
Oh,
so
wow!
I can feel
super
them.
cool.
Yeah, Braille numbers on them.
What a great idea!
Yep. So games are changing. Games, and then a lot of people play Dungeons and Dragons over Discord, over video chat. There's games that are played, especially over with the 2020 when everything was closed down and nobody was socializing face to face. Everybody did it over Zoom or Discord or whatever. I play for myself when I'm playing alone. I play on my Alexa device. I play a game called Night Manager, and that is all voice activated because there's no screen because it's a Alexa. So anybody can play that. You don't have to be blind to play. And that's what I'm finding a lot of people are, when I was younger and I would read books on tape, people are like, oh, you're listening to a book? That's not reading. You're listening. How many people have Audible now and listen to podcasts while they're driving in the car? And I'm like, so everything is changing and becoming more audible. I have so many games on my phone that I play. And
I know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I know you posted in the cafe's blind games, because we do have a blind games text chat about a game called Idle Icta.
Yes, I love it.
I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I was wondering if you heard of the game Endless Tales, because I played it and you can choose from a class type if you want to be male or female, and it's like a fantasy RPG kind of game.
Exactly up my alley. I'm playing.
Yeah, so you should.
Endless Tales.
You should check it out.
I'm gonna now. I got to download that.
So I'm going to show my complete and utter ignorance here, which I do on a regular basis anyway. So I stop now. What's RPG?
Role-playing game.
Oh,
I didn't know that either, so don't feel bad, Julie.
Role-playing game. And then there's a thing called LARP, which is live action role-playing, where people dress up and they go into a field and they interact with other people and they play out a story. And sometimes it's a couple hours in a field, and sometimes it's a whole weekend.
So that's like, I mean, for as long as I can remember, there's been adults that would go and reenact battles.
Yes.
Like cosplay.
So it's that kind of thing. Oh, interesting.
Yep.
I didn't realize that expanded.
It's like that with but with more fantasy and sci-fi. You could find LARPing for anything. Like somebody going to do the war at Gettysburg, right?
Yeah.
People dress up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I would warn the parents of my past clients, if your kid comes home and says, oh, me and Miss Christie, all we did was play Uno, I would warn the parents, while we were playing Uno, I would, monitor how they were taking their turns. I would also have them randomly, when they put down a red, ask them, what makes you angry? And then when they put down a blue, ask them, where do you go when you're sad? And when you put down a yellow, say, who in your life makes you giggle, laugh, happy? And then when they put down a green, I ask them, what's your biggest worry right now? Because I assign emotions to the
Yeah,
card.
yeah. That's
And
amazing.
the parents are like, oh. And I'm like, I'm doing counseling. You can do that with your kid. It also gets them talking. And I would use my visual impairment with them. And I would say, sometimes I can't see the card that you're putting down. Can you please say it out loud every time? And it makes them communicate. It makes them talk. It makes them, and then if I don't say what I put down, then they would go, Miss Christie, you didn't communicate. And I go, oh, yes, you're right. I apologize. And I teach them how to apologize. And I teach them, I'm saying I'm sorry because I didn't say what I put down. And so then, if they didn't say it, then I would ask them to apologize. It's all about practice with kids.
So I have a question for you, Christy. Did your education and what you're talking about now, did that prepare you more for being a parent?
Yes and no. My kids are so unique that I thought everything was great. And I didn't see some of the struggles that they were going through until COVID, until homeschooling. Yeah. And then I started seeing some stuff and I'm like, what happened? And I'm like, what is this how it is at school for you? And so I got them assessed because, that's when my daughter's disability was really flaring up. And then my son, he has ADHD. My daughter has ADHD. My daughter also has a physical impairment. And we didn't see the physical impairment because of red flags from way back would just come and go.
Yeah. So COVID did have some positive moments.
It did. Yeah. It did. And me going in and checking on them and going, are you okay? What's going on? And so me being at work all day, and then coming home at night, I would miss some stuff. So my education, I felt like I was doing great at work, but then I missed some stuff at home. Right. So I'm like, oh.
But that comes to the old adage, the shoemaker's children run barefoot.
Yeah, yes.
Like the painter's house always needs a coat of paint. We do tend to miss things in our own family that we pick up on at work for sure.
Yep.
But you got there in the end, right?
We did. Yes. Yes, and they're doing pretty good.
Good. I was just going to ask that. Are they doing better?
Yeah. They're working their hardest. They're doing what they're supposed to, and they communicate very well. And we're trying to be the good parents. It's hard for me to because they're older teenagers, so I'm trying to take my hands off, and it's really hard because I am a micromanager. I like to know who they're talking to, what they're doing.
What are you watching? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
When, where, why. Yeah, you have to tell me everything, otherwise you're not allowed to do it. Yeah. So I have a completely out in left field question. I know that you have a prosthetic eye, and I'm very curious about that because you said one day in the room about having something tattooed on it. I didn't realize that it's actual artists that paint the eyeball. Yeah. But did any of the children ever question that, or like did you give them the space to feel comfortable to ask questions that perhaps out in society, we all get it, right? You're out in the store and you hear a little kid say, "What's that, mummy?" And they go, "Shh, shh, shh." Because they're talking about your game. I'm just wondering, how do children react to your eye, or not so much?
So when I would introduce myself to the family at the intake, I would tell them that I am visually impaired. I use special technology, and there are some things that that I can't fully do, and sometimes I will need assistance. And whether that's going to be like a school guidance counselor will help me read something, if it's handwritten, stuff like that. If the parents leave a note for me.
Gotcha.
And then I tell them, especially the older kids, I would say 8, 9, 10, and then the high school kids most definitely. I tell them, if I'm looking at you and it doesn't look like I'm looking at you, and you're like, oh, Miss Christie's looking past you, that's because this eye is fake. Okay. Because my left eye is looking right at you, but my nose is pointing past your other shoulder.
I gotcha, yeah.
And I'm like, but I am making eye contact. I'm looking at you. I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. Because I explained to them, I don't want you to look behind you thinking someone is behind you listening to you.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be anxious about that. I go, that's not a worry that you should hold on to. And then they're like, okay. And then I go, but if you have, I always tell them I'm totally open. If you have any questions, please ask, because I'm very open. And that would always be on the first day. With the smaller kids that I had some 5, 6, 7-year-olds. They were so enamored with the toys in my room that I was just talking to the parent. So I would tell them. But.
Yeah. Well, Chrissy, it's been great having you on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
I hope you come back, because we
Thank you.
really only scratched the surface for sure.
I know. I could talk forever.
Yeah. So, ladies, I got a blind gem I wanted to share with you. I don't know how many others of you have done this. We were in the grocery store on the weekend, and my husband said he was going to get something in the frozen section, and I said, oh, I'm just going to go grab eggs. We forgot eggs. So it's just one aisle over, so I'm not going to get lost. So I go get the eggs, and I go back to where he is, and he's in the corner, and he's got his back to me, and I go up and I squeeze his bum and say, hey, handsome, you going my way? And he turns around, and it wasn't my husband. But he had the same colour jacket on and blue jeans, and oh my, and then all of a sudden I hear my husband killing himself, laughing, saying, I can't leave you alone for 2 seconds. Can I get over here? Like, oh my God. I felt like a fool. Like, I mean, it was funny, and the guy had to chuckle about it, but has anybody else ever done that? Like,
no.
Yes.
Not yet.
Yes.
Yeah, not yet.
I did not squeeze. I did not squeeze. I walked right up to a man with an bright orange shirt on at the beach, and I was just looking at his shirt. I didn't even look at his face. And I said, honey, and I went to go reach for his hand, and then my sister ran over, and she's like, that's not Victor. And my husband was running. My husband was running behind her. He had a bright orange T-shirt on that said Reese's on it. And I was almost holding hands with a stranger on the beach. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Morgan, that's a great way to pick guys up in the grocery store.
Yeah, accidentally.
On purpose. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were
forgot.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to a little extra segment we have for you. We're going to talk a little bit about Night Manager that we mentioned previously, since it's a popular game in the blind community. And to help us talk about it, we have a guest, Arlene, with us. Julie is also here with me. And Arlene, would you like to introduce yourself a bit?
Hi, my name is Hi, my name is Arlene from Toronto, Canada. I played this game. It's called Night Manager. It is a fun game.
How do you play the game, Arlene?
It is an audio game. It's on Alexa. Okay, good.
Right.
Yeah, it is. It's on a smart speaker. It's Alexa. It's a voice command game. You attack other knights. Yeah.
How long have you been playing for?
I've been playing for about a couple years.
A couple of years.
Yeah.
So, is it? I know you play different games, but do you like this game because of its accessibility, or is it the game itself that you enjoy the most?
I love this game. It's awesome.
What's your favorite part about Night Manager?
Just attacking all the knights and just making trade requests with all the other players. Getting lots of diamonds. You can spend lots of diamonds for, or lots of skills. No, lots of diamonds for skills, sorry.
So do you play like in a team? You can interact with other people when you're playing this game, right?
Yeah.
So do you like to play in teams like that, or do you like to fight it on your own?
I have a tag team partner I play. He's awesome.
Oh, that's good. So then you guys can like tag team and fight other knights together and and draw from each other's strengths. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that is good.
Yeah. And then there's a dark tower. When it opens back up, I'm gonna climb the dark tower. Yeah. So
cool.
What's the highest level you've gotten to in the dark tower, Arlene?
Oh, in the dark tower? One time I got like the floor 520, and the other time I got to...
That's a big tower. I thought you meant like, 10 floors, maybe tops, but my Lanta, that's a big tower.
Yeah, but the tower keeps growing every time it opens, I guess, because I can never get to the top of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, Arlene. I've never gotten to the top either.
No, I know that other players do, but...
So, Arlene, if somebody wanted to play this game and they didn't have an Alexa smart speaker, is there any other ways you can play it?
Yeah, you could download the Alexa app on your smartphone.
Oh, and you can do that even if you have an Android phone?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
I know everybody talks about it. I have not tried it. No, not my thing, games like that. I like to sit down and play board games or stuff, but but I'm shocked at how popular it is.
Yeah, it's a really fun game. You should give it a try, Julie.
I shouldn't I, Arlene?
Yeah. And
if I get stuck, you'll help me, right?
Yeah.
And we have such a nice community in the cafe. Everybody helps everybody. I know when I started, I got some gifts and help from other members who've been playing longer. And Arlene, you help people out. You give gifts to other people sometimes. You're really nice like that.
Yeah, you can send trade requests, and you can offer trade requests for diamonds, or you can send gifts, and sometimes other players send me like apple pies, and if I get like 20 apples, I will send 10 apples for some apple pies, stuff like that. So when I eat the apple pies, my energy will get restored. So I won't have to buy energy with lots of diamonds because it costs lots of diamonds to buy energy. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it costs like 100 and something diamonds, and right now I got 700 and something diamonds, and all the diamonds move with you to the next season. So.
Oh, that's good. At least you don't lose them when they shut the season down.
Yeah. Yeah, your diamonds, your skills, your bonuses, I think they move with you also, which is cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Well, Arlene, thank you so much for stopping by and explaining that to us. We've really enjoyed having you here.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Arlene. It was great to have you on.
You can find more from Blind Gems on YouTube, Spotify, and the internationalblindcafe.com website.